Hello, welcome to Edufy. Today we are here to discuss about the new topic and which we are starting, that is entry of Europeans in India. So today we will see that how Europeans have entered into India and what was their motive, what are the series of Europeans we have seen in their whose presence we have seen in Indian landscapes, and eventually how after defeating Portuguese defeat and all the European powers that have set foot on India, we will see finally how Britishers have won over other European powers. So by analyzing the entry of Europeans in India, the history goes back in 1400s. For the first time, the European which have set foot on Indian landscape is your Portuguese. Okay? So if we study the chronology of Europeans, we will see the first who came in India was Portuguese, then it was Dutch, then English, and then French. So you have to remember that there is a trick PDF. Okay? In between PDF you have to put E. So that is a trick of understanding the chronology. So first of all, what is the time period of coming of European of Portuguese? That is 1498. Vasco da Gama will set foot on the India in the Calicut region. Okay, that is near the Kerala coast you will find, and he will be welcomed by the ruler of Calicut, that is Zamorin. And even before that, before coming of Vasco da Gama, you will see there was attempts by Bartholomew Diaz. However, he could only reach till the southern tip of the Africa, that is Cape of Good Hope. After that only, after him only, we will see coming of the Vasco da Gama in India in Calicut for the first time. So finally, Portuguese people will establish for what purpose. First we have to understand for what purpose they have come. They have come for trading purposes. And what is a special trade that was so much prominent at that time? The trade of black pepper, spice trade. Even black pepper was equated with black gold at that time. तो उनका पर्पस क्या था? Profit was their motive, but eventually they will expand and they will increase their ambitions into becoming a colonial power and have political ambitions. So we will see that Portuguese will finally capture Goa in 1510 from the ruler of Bijapur. Also we will see that they will establish many posts along the west coast. In fact, Daman Diu, Dadar Nagar, Goa, all these are the areas where you will see Portuguese dominance plus the Indian Ocean. Next, challenging the authority of Portuguese dominance, we will see coming of Dutch people in 1602. So they will also establish their factory. Their first factories were established in Masulipatam and Pulicat. They were largely dominant on the eastern side. However, Portuguese over the period of time will defeat the Dutch people, and Dutch will be, as well as English will be defeating the Dutch people, and Dutch will be confined largely to Indonesian region and involved in trade purposes only. They are not much more concerned with the political ambitions like East India Company or the Portuguese company. Okay, that is your Dutch people. That after Dutch we will see coming of British East India Company. Now British East India Company got the charter from the Queen to do trade with eastern part of the world in 1600, and finally at that point of time East India Company was formed, and you will see then they will set foot in India, and their first factory was established in Surat and Madras in 1613 after taking permission from Jahangir. Okay, so after this, Britishers will fight with Portuguese, they will fight with Dutch, and later on they will fight with French and eliminate all the European powers to establish their political foothold in the Indian land. And purpose, initially these company came only for what? Trade and commerce. And with diplomacy, with wars, with techniques, treaties, they all become the supreme power in the political landscape. And you will see this is Robert Clive, who will be turning the company into a political power after the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar. The late arrival, or you can say the last European power to come in India is French. In 1664, there is establishment of French East India Company, as well as largely they are concentrated in the regions of Pondicherry, Mahe, Yanam, as well as Chandernagore region in Bengal. Okay, and they will also come in conflict with Britishers because of their political ambitions, because of the political ambitions of both the powers, that is French and British. You will see there was Anglo-French rivalry in the Carnatic region, where we will see the series of Carnatic wars, and finally Britishers will defeat the French power, and their influence will also be limited in India to Pondicherry region and for the trade purposes, and Britishers will become the main power who will rule us over the long period of time in the history, and finally India receiving the independence in 1947. So with coming of these European powers, there was transformation in the society, new practices we learned. For example, our cultures got exchanged. We learn about the new crops. For example, Portuguese introduced tobacco, they introduced cashew, they introduced potatoes. So all these crops we learnt about them. Plus they have eventually taken out the resources out of us. That was very much evident in the Dadabhai Naoroji's train of wealth theory. They exploited our resources. Okay, you can see they have also contributed some architecture, that is Queen Victoria Memorial Palace in Calcutta. This way you have seen that how Indian history has been shaped, and the modern history we study, it is more about how Britishers have conquered and how we have launched as an Indian reaction the Indian national movement. So in coming series we will touch upon the other aspects of these parts. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.